Double L.
Good evening, babukeli be dope, hot and fresh audience. Gama lami Nozipho Sibanyoni la Mpumalanga. Born and raised Eswatini to a young Swazi woman and a young South African man from Mzinoni. Nozipho Sibanyoni, what she does is she has a company called the Mount Zion Garden. Mount Zion Garden has many other plants that grow in it. That includes House of Nabozizwe, which is my designing company, and then Baba, which is my art space where I create arts with other artists, where I do collaborations with other artists. And then I also have Umlondolozi, which is a podcast which talks about the history and the way of life of the Abenguni people of Southern Africa. Mount Zion Garden was started in 2016. It was registered 2017 in the US, where I used to live. And when I started it, I had started it because I had come together with a few other Africans, and we established an organization called the African Heritage Committee, which looks after the interest of Africans in the diaspora and Africans here at home. So then that's when I registered it, because we all had to come up with a business that we could do that would benefit Africans in the diaspora, Africans at home where you come from. And then I had chosen to do Baba, which is my art space, like for art centers, which would benefit our people here at home, and then their work would be transported to the rest of Africa. And then from there, the designing part came. That's when Nabozizwe was born, which was 2018. Nabozizwe is my designing space where I create clothes and hats. And then after that, as I was doing my clothes and my hats, questions came about what inspired the hats, what were they all about. There were quite a few things that were being thrown around, and I started, being curious myself about, my hats and what they meant to people. And it also transpired that I was, linked to quite a few people in Africa that are in my DNA, mainly the Basotho, the Maswati, Maxhosa. And as I was finding out all this, I discovered that actually the people that I'm really fall under is the Abenguni. So, and then I decided I would want to know more about Abenguni. So that's when the podcast was born, the Umlondolozi. Well, as far as why I chose designing, I don't think I actually chose it. It chose me, I would say. Because what really used to happen is that, as you can imagine, you don't just live in New York and not be inspired by that city and its art space and its creativity and its fashion and everything that goes on there. So I was always somebody that was into fashion. I mean, when I was in high school, I used to organize fashion shows. I was in boarding school. I used to organize theater shows. I was always in that creative and entertaining space. And so living in New York, you get exposed to so much creativity, so many designers, so many textiles, and I'm someone that really is into fabric. And I just kept on collecting fabric and collecting and collecting. And one day I just woke up and I realized that I had so much fabric and I didn't know what I was going to do with it. And then I just decided one day that, let me try and create something. So if I was going to create myself a bag. And so I called a friend of mine who I was taking a class with at FIT, because I used to take summer classes at FIT when I was not working. And I called him because he was studying handbag making, and I said to him, Sean, can you come by my house and teach me how to cut a handbag and blah 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 blah. He was going to come, but while he was not there, I had taken a class in shoemaking with Emily Potterman. And so I started to cut some of those pieces to create my shoes that I wanted to make. And then I decided I wanted to make shoes that matched the handbag, because that's what Sean was going to teach me. But then something else happened. I decided, you know what, maybe I should also make a hat. So I started experimenting with different kind of hats. But for some reason, the hats just took off better than anything else that I was trying to put together at the time. And when I started to wear my hats, because I wore the hats myself, and everybody kept on asking me where I bought my hats and if I could sell them to them, and that's how it started with the hats. But then now I'm actually doing everything, you know. So that's what inspired the hats. That's what happened with the fashion space that I'm in. My real interest was gladiator sandals. That's why I went to take a class at FIT, because I've always been into gladiator sandals. So, and I wanted to make colorful sandals, so I was buying very colorful fabric and all that. And then the handbag thing, I thought, okay, maybe let me match it with handbags, and then the hat thing came. So that's how this whole thing just rolled out. Well, difficulties that I really have met up with is, you know, understanding how the fashion world really works, because I'm not somebody that really understood how it works at the beginning, because my interest was just making gladiator sandals. I wasn't really trying to be a fashion designer. I just wanted to make gladiator sandals, and I wasn't thinking myself like that. I was just thinking I was going to make these designer shoes, these gladiator sandals, and sell them and make them for myself. And then obviously with everything transpiring to where things are now, I was a newbie in the fashion world, and there were many knocks. You know, I was knocking my head in terms of just where to buy what and how to get myself known, how to get people to know where I'm found. And I'm not somebody that was really great with social media, so how to get people get to know me, you know. So I've had to really learn a lot. And that was quite difficult, because when I realized that this business had legs, I had to make it work, you know, and making it work has not been easy. Well, what really inspires me not to give up as far as the fashion is concerned is the feedback I get. You know, I was not prepared for how my hats have been received here at home, and even, you know, in the West, like in overseas where I was at some point in time. I've had such great response. I was shocked. I wasn't ready, you know, and so that thing has made me realize that there's something in my hands and there's something in my head that the world needs to enjoy, you know. And I really enjoy seeing people get the joy that they display when they wear the hat, when they discover it. People are always asking me all the time, how did you think about this product? Like, what made you think like this? And I'm like, how can it be so shocking that people create? Because I see great creation all the time. But that's something that does not inspire me. And more than anything, it's Africa. Africa, to me, there's never been a better creation like this continent. I've never seen anything like it, and I've traveled quite a little bit, and I've just never seen anything like this continent. And I believe and I know that the creativity that is in this continent is something the world has never experienced. Thinking about just what the Egyptians were able to do in terms of what they created, and the ancient buildings that are, because I'm a history lover, the ancient buildings that I've seen, I realize that, you know, the art center that I'm trying to put together has a place, because all this work that's about to arise in this continent needs a place. And my place is not going to be the only place. There'll be other places, but I need to put a place for these artists that are about to come. So Africa is my biggest inspiration. There's just, for me, calling my business the Zion Garden, it's really credit to Africa, because I feel like this is the best garden that God ever created, and the world has not seen what this garden is capable of yet. And I'm one of those people that I want to show off what this garden called Africa is capable of. Achievements, huh? I'd say that, you know, that I think I've had quite a few achievements, even though I would not like to call them achievements. I think I'd rather call them blessings because of what they've given back to me. The first one being able to work with a great artist called Carol Boyce in New York City. I had an opportunity to serve her business and manage her business for the period of 6 years while she was working with other South African artists. Together they ran a gallery in Soho. That was quite an achievement for me, to find myself working right in the middle of the art scene of New York City, serving the kind of people that I normally would, see on TV, but there they were in front of me. That was quite an achievement. I learned a lot from Carol. She took me by the hand and showed me what the art world looks like outside of our space, which is South Africa. And then I also had an opportunity to meet so many other people in the art space and what they used to call arts for life and arts for health, where we used to organize health exhibitions, and we donate those funds to health initiatives around the world. I then had an opportunity to also to come back home, where now I've had opportunity where the Department of Arts and Culture has invited me to exhibit my work on some of their occasions here and there in Mpumalanga. So I think just that kind of exposure for me has been really great. Some of the people that have invited me to be in their spaces because of my work has really been an opportunity that I think is a great achievement, and it's propelling me towards getting better at what I do. Describe myself, I'd say that I'm someone that I think is very curious, very, very curious, and very diligent in what I believe in. I'm unshakable when it comes to what I believe in, and someone that's probably compassionate. I'd say compassionate and passionate about what I do. Well, I'd say, to someone who is probably wanting to give up, that, don't give up, because the one thing that I think you should do is to try and understand the industry that you're in, because once you understand the space that you're supposed to be in, then it's easy to navigate that space, learn as much as you can learn about that industry, and just believe in who you are, believe in your dream, and just pursue your dream. It's important. It's why you're here. You're here to be part of something, and it's just not to be born and exist. It's to create something and be part of something that's been created, and be a catalyst of whatever that thing is. So don't give up. Just fight for what you believe in whichever way you can, but just don't hurt anyone while you're doing it. If you can, avoid doing that. Where do people how do people contact me? You can reach me on my website. On my email address, which is nabozizwebrand @gmail.com. Otherwise, very soon I'll have my social media up, and I will be able to share that with you as soon as it's ready. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Dope, hot and fresh audience. Do follow me. Do keep looking out for me. I will be found based in Barbarton, and very soon there's going to be an art space there called Baba, which is by Africans. Look out for that very soon.